Hello, everyone, and welcome to the AD Lunch Series sponsored by Auto Owners. I'd like to thank Auto Owners for your continued partnership with MSU Athletics. We really appreciate all you do for us here. And thanks to all of you who are tuning in today, wherever you may be, to hear from our Spartan head coaches and student athletes as they provide updates on their respective programs and share their MSU experiences. I'm sorry we can't be doing this in person as we so often enjoy, but frankly, the opportunity to do it online has allowed so many thousands of people more to join us that I think we certainly need to think through how, whenever the pandemic ends and we can be back in person, that we make sure we have live streaming opportunities for those who can't join us at the North End Zone or Breslin or wherever we might be meeting. So more to follow on that. If you tuned into our last AD lunch, you heard themes of overcoming adversity, opportunities, and Spartan pride, all appropriate for these times. Before introducing our first head coach, I'd like to take an opportunity to provide an athletic department update. In these past 2 weeks, we've experienced some great highs, but also continue to make difficult decisions as we address the short and long-term financial implications of the COVID environment. On October 22nd, we announced the discontinuation of the men's and women's swimming and diving programs after the 2021 season. This was an extraordinarily difficult decision and one that we are very sad to make, but feel as though it's in the best long-term interests of MSU and MSU athletics. But despite these challenges and difficult decisions, we are committed to excellence on and off the field. I hope you're still reveling in our victory over Michigan last weekend. What an extraordinary game. Undoubtedly a special moment for our student athletes and our coaching staff, especially Coach Tucker, who joined Nick Saban as one of only 2 MSU head coaches to defeat the University of Michigan in their inaugural season. So hats off to Coach Tucker and the great work that his team has done to prepare our young men for Michigan. And of course, we're all very excited to see how they do out in Iowa this weekend. Some of our other varsity sports are also receiving accolades even before competition begins. In preseason polls, our wrestling team is ranked number 11th. Our women's cross-country team is ranked 9th nationally. And soon competition will start for our men's and women's basketball programs as well as ice hockey. We're on the cusp of greatness and ready to go. You can help us commit to excellence and invest in our student athletes' success by visiting SpartanFund.net. That's SpartanFund.net, as you see on your screen. Please consider making an unrestricted gift to MSU Athletics through the Spartan Fund that will provide us the flexibility we need to address our most pressing needs, such as scholarships for our returning senior student athletes, COVID-related expenses, and academic support for our student athletes. So let's get started with today's program. First up is Tom Saxton. Coach Saxton is entering his 30th season as head coach of the Michigan State women's soccer program. Tom himself earned 3 letters as a player at MSU before returning in 1986 to assist legendary Spartan soccer coach Joe Baum with both the men's and women's programs. Tom and associate head coach Tammy Farnham, assistant coach Stacy DeLong, all were Spartan soccer players before joining the coaching staff at MSU. Spartan players have collected a total of 42 All Big Ten honors in Saxton's tenure. Academically, the Spartans have received 354 academic All Big Ten awards, including 23 last season under Tom's guidance. So as those of you that have been joining us for a while know, I always like to end these introductions of our coaches with a fun fact, something that you really couldn't figure out no matter how much you Googled them on the internet. So our fun fact about Tom is that his favorite food is pizza, and one of his biggest pet peeves is bad pizza. So Tom, before you give us an update on your program, tell us, where's your favorite pizza from, and what in your mind makes a bad pizza?
Well, Bill, I'll take it easy on people's pizza taste, but I am a Flint native, grew up in Flint, and we have 5 or 6 family pizzerias that are all awesome, different styles, and kind of grew up enjoying those. So a lot of those places have been around for 50 or more years, and so I think the love and care of a family pizzeria that doesn't change the recipe over time is kind of in my wheelhouse, and I won't attempt to disparage anybody else's taste in pizza, but let's just say I prefer a mom and pop place.
Very good. So how are things going in women's soccer?
Well, it's been great to be out on the field, Bill, and I just want to start by, first of all, reaching out to all of you out there and saying thank you for your continued support of Michigan State athletics and of our university, and I hope that you and your families are healthy and safe in these times. It's certainly been an unusual time, and I want to thank you, Bill, for your leadership. I know this is not something you've signed up for, but you've done a great job leading us through the continued ups and downs of the pandemic era. And again, we appreciate your leadership. I also want to take an opportunity to publicly congratulate Coach Mel and the football team. As you mentioned earlier, Bill, I think we in Spartan Nation needed that great victory. It was certainly a fantastic event for all of us, and just want to reach out to Coach Mel and say how much I appreciated that special day. So we have had our ups and downs, since the pandemic came our way in late March, and spent the summer in lots of Zoom meetings, but when we were able to get back out on the field in September, I think it was great for all of us to be at Old College Field training together and seeing each other in person, practicing all the appropriate protocols. But just being out on the field has done us all a world of good. And I think it certainly has been great for our mental health, if nothing else. And I want to thank our medical staff, in particular our head trainer, Shantisha Pruitt, for all they've done to support us. These are the care that we're taking as a department and the leadership we get from our medical folks has been integral in enabling us to get out on the field day in and day out and staying safe and doing things the right way, and hopefully leading us down the path to playing some games beginning in February. So we've been training weekdays Monday through Friday since September 2nd, and it's been going well. And I think that while we haven't had the chance to do a lot of team bonding and stuff off the field like we normally would, we really put an emphasis on bonding when we're in each other's presence on the field. And I think the team's coming together and developing chemistry. And I credit our upperclassmen and their leadership for helping with that. We are scheduled as of now, and we've been in conversations with the Big Ten Conference and our leadership pretty much weekly. We are scheduled to play college soccer beginning in February. An unofficial target date for the Big Ten schedule to start is February 25th, and we'll play for about 7 weeks conference play, and those schedules are still being developed as they are for most of our sports. But just the opportunity that we can provide for our players to have some type of meaningful season, we are certainly grateful for in these times, and we're going to do everything we can to prepare the student athletes over the coming months. We'll be wrapping up our outdoor training this week. We'll encourage our team to go home and stay healthy and work out and stay fit. And we'll get back together in January to begin preparation for our winter/spring season. And we'll be looking forward to working out all the logistics that will be required. But I want to commend my Big Ten colleagues. It's not often that you can get 14 coaches on a call weekly and get them to all agree on parameters. And this group has been great to work with this year. So I am confident we're going to move forward with a meaningful Big Ten season. And we look forward to competing for a championship. It'll be chilly, but our game is played around the world year round. So we'll adapt to it and we'll be prepared. And again, I want to acknowledge the support we get from Bill and the administration. And again, particularly our medical staff, because they've they've had a lot on their plate, obviously, and they've done such a great job. And so we're getting through. The last thing I want to mention before I introduce our student athlete is, I think for all of us, sport is an opportunity to teach life skills. And one of those really important skills is resilience. And if our resilience hasn't been tested at the highest level this past year, I don't know when it would be. But I want to commend our upperclassmen and our team on the great resilience they've showed, and they will continue to show as we continue on. And I can promise you and all of you out there that the resilience that we're gaining by going through this pandemic will mean a lot to us throughout our lives. And that's certainly the case with our student athletes. And that's a message that we continue to try to send. And our student athlete guest today kind of personifies what it means to be a student athlete at Michigan State, and that characteristic of resilience, and be able to hang in there and hang in through the ups and downs, and yet excel in the classroom, excel in the community, and excel on the field. Our student athlete is a top-level student. She's got a great career ahead of her in whatever direction she goes in. She was an outstanding high school player, Gatorade Player of the Year in the state, just a fantastic ambassador to our program. And I look forward to her sharing her experience with you all. And I'd like to introduce you to senior midfielder Bella Jodis. Bella?
Hello, everyone. So first, thank you, Coach Tom, for your kind words, and Mr. Beekman for allowing us student athletes to share a bit about our journey here. So to start, I committed to Michigan State when I was about 15 years old, and upon my first visit to campus, I instantly fell in love between beautiful DeMartin Stadium and MSU's commitment to academic excellence, and then the coaching staff. This was a pretty easy decision for me. And when I think back to my time here, the biggest thing for me, my biggest accomplishment would probably be just my growth as a person, a teammate, a leader, but maybe even more importantly, academically as a student. Being a member of the soccer team has taught me so many important life lessons, how to overcome adversity. I've become a pro at accepting constructive criticism, and these are all useful lessons not only on soccer, but also in life and in the workforce. One major standout I have from my time here would probably just be the opportunities I've had off the field by being a student athlete. My human capital and society major focuses on people, as people are an organization's most important asset. And I quickly found that my major intertwined quite nicely with my time as a student athlete, as well as being a part of a team. When you're a part of a team, communication, super important, empathy, compassion, and also just valuing the worth of your teammate and kind of fostering the growth within the team. Those are all important things when being an HR professional. My time here has been supplemented by 3 internships within globally recognized companies, one of which was just straight out from being a student athlete. And I quickly recognized that my curriculum at Michigan State was above par and definitely an advantage when I got into the workforce. I was prepared and confident when it came to completing summer projects. And it really can't go unnoticed, the support we get behind the scenes with our athletic training from Tisha, and then our athletic training from Tisha and Kenny, and our student athlete support services with Dan. They really show behind the scenes exactly what it means with Spartans will. And so just as a final word, I would like to thank the donors who so generously provided me and so many other student athletes with opportunities to live out our dreams and also find ourselves and our passions off the field.
Excellent. Well, Bella and Tom, I can't thank you enough for joining us today, sharing a little bit about your Spartan experience and how special it is to be a Spartan student athlete. So thanks so much for joining us today. So now we'll bring in our next head coach, Kim Chavers, who leads our rowing program. Kim became just the 3rd coach in program history on September 3rd, 2019. And although this is her 2nd year at MSU, the pandemic wiped out virtually all of her first year, which leads me to my first fun fact about Kim, which is I think she may be the coach in MSU's history who has remained undefeated the longest. Now, we don't have to tell people, Kim, that that's due to lack of competition, but our longest undefeated coach, perhaps in the history of MSU. So Kim rowed collegiately at Marietta College in Ohio and graduated with a degree in health science, eventually earning a doctorate from Northeastern University in physical therapy. Before Kim came to us here at MSU, she was an assistant coach at Indiana University and at Old Dominion. And a fun fact about Kim is that she actually started out her college athletic career as a soccer player. So, Kim, before you tell us a little bit about how the rowing program is going, and without disparaging our friends in women's soccer that just left us, what caused you to find your light in rowing?
I'll have to tell Coach Saxton this story too. I was recruited and started playing soccer fall of my freshman year, and the program wasn't the right fit for me. And I had called my dad, and I was like, "Oh, Dad, I'm gonna come home." And he's like, "No, you're not. You're gonna stay there. We picked this school for academics, and find something else you like there. Try rowing." And the coach there was lucky enough to let me attend a few practices and give me a tryout. And it's a sport I've stuck with since. I couldn't be more grateful for the opportunities he gave me.
Excellent. Well, how are things, as I said earlier, sort of tongue in cheek, you all have had a real, a lack of opportunity to compete. The pandemic hit your program at just sort of the absolute wrong time. So, I'm sure it's been challenging to get the women to sort of remain focused given the inability to compete. But in my time getting out, and I think I've gotten out to practice at least once in the last couple of months, and everybody seems motivated and excited and intense. And so, how are things going as you get ready for the spring?
They're going well overall. We couldn't be more grateful to be back out on the water. And thank you so much for all the support you've given us and everyone has given to allow us to practice this fall. We're super grateful to our sport administrators and facilities team for all the support they've given us getting back out on the water. And we're grateful for a phenomenal athletic trainer in Stephanie Gregilla, who's been great in supporting our program of almost 90 student athletes during a very challenging fall semester. We're also really lucky to have a great coaching team with two new assistant coaches, Egan Byrne and Katie Coons. And our boatman, Kostas Chungin, has also started supporting us coaching this fall semester. But over the past few weeks, our team has been training in a combination of singles, doubles, pairs, fours, and eight. So our recruited freshmen have taken their first strokes as Spartans, while our brand new novice rowers, so our talent transfer student athletes, people who've never rowed before, have been able to move from our rowing machines out onto the water, training in the 8-person boats. So our upperclassmen have been able to gain a lot more experience in small boats this semester, and we're looking forward to seeing their boat moving skills develop this fall and translate into spring racing. I'm looking forward to have my title as longest undefeated head coach broken, as we're scheduled to start in March. We're looking really forward to the opportunity to start racing. One of the student athletes who's joining us today is Ms. Cameron Novar from Ann Arbor, Michigan. Cameron's a senior on our team who went to Pioneer High School. She was actually selected by our team this summer as one of our team leader council members. She's been a phenomenal team leader this semester, supporting her peers and her younger teammates, both on and off the water. And we're very grateful for the leadership she's shown our team this semester.
Great. Well, Cameron, welcome to the program.
Awesome. Hi, thank you everyone for the introduction. Like Kim said, I'm Cameron. I'm from Ann Arbor. I'm a senior. I did start rowing in high school, so unlike a lot of my teammates, I did have some prior experience, but that's what kind of makes rowing even better, is that coming in, you get to meet a ton of people coming from different backgrounds, and then you get to see the real growth throughout your team, people learning to row and just, progressing as a group, even with lack of experience prior to that. But I joined the team as a freshman, like I said, as a walk-on. And right from the start, I joined back in 2017. So early on, it was kind of at the height of the sensitive topic, the Nassar scandal. So I've seen my team face a lot of adversity, and that is no different from COVID right now. And ending our season early in the spring was definitely a bummer, but I'm really excited to see how my team continues to progress throughout the season. We're definitely working really, really hard, although we're not currently competing. But like Kim said, we're in singles, doubles, pairs, fours, and eights. So we're definitely able to, skill and progress in that way as well. But yeah, COVID has definitely taken a toll on our practices. It's definitely not normal, but people have adjusted really, really well. I'm really proud of everyone and how they've handled the situation. Although there's a lot of changes, we're still able to have that sense of normalcy this year, which I'm really grateful for, despite being online with school. It's really awesome to still be able to practice and be out there with my team. But yeah, I'm a packaging student here at Michigan State. That's what initially drew me to Michigan State. It's a very specific program to here that you don't see throughout the country. And a lot of people don't understand it either. But I had an internship this past summer with Amcor, which is a packaging company in Ann Arbor, worldwide known as well, which is an awesome experience. And I can credit that to our awesome academic advisors that we have through Student Athlete Support Services. And just honestly, the title of being a student athlete at Michigan State has really helped me in my professional life. And I'm really looking forward to progressing post-grad and being able to have that title under my belt. But yeah, thank you to the donors and thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I'm really, really grateful to be a Spartan, and I'm looking forward to our season as well.
So Cameron, let me put you on the spot for just a second. What made you interested in packaging? And it's a really cool major. It's really unique to MSU. But what prompted you to have that as an interest?
It's kind of hard to put into words. I think I heard about it when I was around a freshman or sophomore in high school. But if anyone has ever unboxed an Apple product, like a phone or a laptop, you know that it's an experience when you open up the product. And that was something that was always really, really interesting to me. So going forward, it's just about creating the experience for the customer. And that's a mix of kind of engineering and marketing, which is what I'm really interested in.
Cool. Yeah. That's great. That's great. And Kim, I'll put you on the spot for a second. So you practice in singles, doubles, fours, and eights. You only row competitively in fours and eights. So what are the advantages of the singles and the doubles? How do they help from a practice perspective that turns into competing?
Yeah, so it definitely forces our team to work together a bit more. Cameron was actually out in a pair this morning, and she could definitely tell you it requires them to work very closely together as a team. And it also really increases their ability in boat feel, feeling the boat move and having that translate over into moving an 8-person boat even more effectively.
Awesome. Well, Kim, Cameron, thanks so much for joining us today. It's great to have you and learn a little bit more about rowing. And I am very excited to see y'all out on the water this spring competing. And you never know, Kim. We may keep that thing alive for a while longer. So get the women out rowing, and you never know what'll happen. So thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll now move on to our men's tennis coach, Gene Orlando. Gene is in his 30th season. I'll say that again, 30th season as our men's tennis head coach. And I think Gene started in the role when he was about 12 years old because he can still hit the ball pretty well. Gene is a Hall of Famer, inducted into the Ball State Athletics Hall of Fame in 1997 after helping the Cardinals to 4 MAC championships. And for Gene's success on the court, he's also had extraordinary success in the classroom. In 2019-20, men's tennis achieved a department-high 3.812 cumulative GPA, setting a new record by becoming the team with the highest cumulative GPA, men's or women's, since the inception of the Athletic Directors Award in 2001. It was the 14th time under Gene's leadership that men's tennis claimed the Athletic Directors Award, which is really quite extraordinary. Gene and the men's tennis program are also active with Meals on Wheels, the Michigan State Wheelchair Tennis Program, Athletes in Action, Team Impact, and many more. Gene says he's still searching for his favorite vacation destination. But Gene, before talking about your program, tell us a few of your favorite vacation destinations so far. Oh, Gene, you're on mute.
How's that? Good?
Good.
All right. Well, I'd have to say, going back to when my kids were young, going to Disney World, was really a lot of fun. And then just last year we went to Captiva Island and even a smaller Yusepa Island down in Fort Myers area. We had our spring break. It was pretty cool. I'd love to go back there when I wasn't responsible with 12 athletes and can just sit back and enjoy it. But that'd be a fun place to go to. But I'd like to just take this moment to thank our donors and all our friends of Spartan Athletics, Spartan Tennis, for your support, especially during these extreme times. Obviously, I haven't had a chance to talk to everyone, but March 12th was the date that everything came to an end, and it was a crushing time for our team. We were getting ready to go to play Michigan, and so we were pretty amped up. But right after that, everyone left and went home, and my sis and I came up with the idea we wanted to keep the season going, so we set up Zoom calls twice a week. Just to kind of stay in touch, to kind of finish the season out with everyone, and ended up being a really positive adventure for us. We picked up a book called "The Obstacle Is the Way" from Ryan Holiday, and it really kind of helped us, through these times. And it didn't matter. Obviously the obstacle kept on getting bigger. We thought it would be over in a month, and it keeps on going on. But it really helped us and helped prepare us, for the times we've been going through. But we piggybacked off of that with having special guest speakers, during those Zoom calls. We had Coach D'Antonio, we had Tom Izzo, we had the sports psychologist at the USTA. We had Luke Jensen, who was a French Open doubles champion. We even had someone that was in the Navy SEALs. He gave us a good talk, and we actually played games like Pictionary and charades, and actually my assistant put it on Twitter, the Pictionary, and the Pictionary maker or that designed it reached out to my assistant, and we actually had him on our one of our Zoom calls. And I think these Zoom calls actually helped us even in the summertime. We kept it going once a week, and it kept the team connected, and even our newcomers were able to interact with the older players. So it was this COVID has been tough, but in many ways it's really helped us do some things a little bit differently. I would say the toughest thing about COVID was not having the opportunity to work out with our players during the summertime, and usually that's a big time for us to train and make some adjustments in their games, and then obviously we weren't able to recruit. Obviously able to recruit on the phone, but not be able to make in-person contact, seeing them play. So that was tough. Even summer camps, the opportunity to work with young kids and share the game of tennis that we love was challenging. But I think a moment of pride during this whole thing with COVID was just how resourceful our program has, how our athletic department has been, and to see the improvement with our guys. We haven't been able to compete, but we've been able to compete with ourselves and how we've been able to improve throughout this process. I mean, obviously everyone thinks you have to play against other teams to improve, but you can actually improve by competing against each other if you have the right culture and the guys approach it the right way, and you have the support staff. So we've been great. We arrived back end of August, and we've been going for 10 weeks just training, and we've been able to stay COVID free and plan on doing so the rest of the way, keeping our bubble small. So we're super excited with that. But we're led by 4 core players, and 2 are redshirt seniors. One's Jack Winkler from Brother Rice. He's the gentleman that had major surgery, lucky to be alive. He's coming back, but he's just a great role model for our guys of not giving up, working hard, and he's competitive right now. So it's been a big improvement for him, and the athletic trainer is surprised that he's even back. We got Josh Mukherjee, another redshirt senior from Bloomfield Hills, and we have 2 juniors who also are great leaders who I lean on a lot, and that's one is Carson Gates and Nick Williams. And then we had 3 new players that came in: Reed Crocker from Kalamazoo, Michigan; Luke Bayless from Clarkson, Michigan; and Graydon Lair from Tulsa, Oklahoma. But again, we got a great nucleus of players. We felt like we didn't get to compete or finish our season last year to see where we would have finished. But again, the guys have done a great job working hard during the summertime. and embrace the theme of the obstacle is the way. We're going to go right through it. We're not going to try to go around it. Whatever comes our way, we're going to find a way out and do it the right way and continue to improve. But that's really kind of our little where we are right now. Excited about January and hopefully being able to play a season. But we've been able to have business as usual. And when I talked about resourcefulness, we haven't been able to, the lift in the gym and just because of COVID, but we've been able to, makeshift gyms like at the ramp at 1855 on the second floor. We just kind of cone it off and we bring the weights to that parking lot. That's just one way we've been able to do it, and been enjoying the fall weather outside a little bit longer than we normally have, just to take advantage of playing outside. And the weather's been extremely nice. So, but all things are good. Can't thank you, Bill, for all the things you've done for our athletic department, for our program, and managing us through this crazy time. So, with that, I'd like to introduce our special guest, our tennis player, is a junior, Carson Gates. He's from Kansas City, Missouri. He's a physiology major who currently owns a 4.0, and I'm excited to have him on here and let him share what his experience is at Michigan State. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Coach O. My name is Carson. I'm a junior on the men's tennis team, majoring in physiology, and I'm planning on attending med school after graduation. I'll talk a little bit about my path to and experience at MSU. A lot of people have a clear-cut path in which they get to the level of college athletics. Maybe they've got, athletic parents with experience, or maybe they start training at a very young age. In either case, I had neither, and it wasn't as clear-cut. More of a late bloomer with my tennis game. I definitely had success, but I was getting overlooked by a couple other top-notch programs. I reached out to Coach O. He came to watch me play some matches in Kansas City, where I'm from. I didn't play great. Luckily, though, he saw something, and he gave me the opportunity to come play at MSU. I took it in a heartbeat because I had just had a feeling that this was the place for me. And I think other athletes also get that feeling when they come to MSU. It just had a different energy than the other schools. The campus, the culture, the history, the success. These things could just be felt walking around on my official visit and in the interactions I had with the students, coaches, and faculty. 3 years later, I still get these goosebumps walking by all the beautiful historic buildings on my way around campus. I would say, on my way to class, but we don't have to walk to class anymore. While I've been on campus, I've been presented with a plethora of opportunities and an enriching set of experiences that can't be matched. In terms of academics, I think we've got the best support staff in the nation. They look out for us by making sure we've got the resources we need. I've had a great deal of success in the classroom, but it's in due part to the support staff and all that they do. It's the same deal with outreach and what we as an athletic department are able to provide the Lansing area and those people in need. But with athletics, it's truly amazing. I've made lifelong friends, grown as a person, traveled the nation, and I've truly learned what winning looks like. A couple highlights has been traveling to Army West Point, actually getting to stay on base, an experience very few get to be a part of. Seeing the great military base of this nation and playing their team was something I won't forget. Additionally, we had a trip to Tennessee to play Memphis and Vanderbilt, and we were able to see the vibrant city of Nashville. We were even able to make a training trip to Florida for spring break this past year, beating out the unfortunate COVID pandemic by just a week. Yeah, these are just a few of the many trips we've taken over the years. But throughout it all, I've realized that it's not really about the wins and losses, but rather the journey, what we learn along the way, and how we can pass that along to the next group of guys come in. I think it's so easy to take these years for granted, especially when you're waking up early for lift and going to bed late after a hard biochemistry study session. But the fact of the matter is we are, as athletes, are blessed to have this privilege. It's a privilege that has been largely given to us through donors like you. And because of you, I will have lifelong memories of MSU. I will have lifelong friends from MSU. And I will always get that distinct feeling when I'm back on campus here. That feeling that I'm sure you guys still get to this day. Thank you.
Carson, thanks so much for joining us. And Gene, it's always a pleasure to learn a little bit more about men's tennis. Y'all are so extraordinary, both on and off the court. And Carson, it's good things to come. So I was so thrilled that you're a Spartan. And again, can't thank you enough for joining us today.
Thanks, Bill.
Next,
have a good one, Bill.
Head volleyball coach Kathy George. Kathy's in her 16th season as head coach here at Michigan State, her 34th season overall. And boy, I'd be here all day if we mentioned all of Kathy's achievements, so we'll limit it to just a couple. Kathy has 288 MSU wins, the most of any coach in program history. She's 15th in wins amongst active Division I coaches with 653. She's a 2019 inductee into the Illinois State Athletics Hall of Fame, where she played as an undergraduate. And in 1989, Kathy became the first woman to coach in the NCAA Division I Final Four. So Kathy doesn't have a lot of free time, but when she does have a little free time, her favorite TV show over the years has been Seinfeld, which is a pretty good choice, I must say. I'd probably drift towards Cheers, but Seinfeld's pretty good. So, Kathy, what makes that your favorite TV show before you tell us a little bit about how things are going this year?
Well, that's funny. I like Cheers too, but it was my mother-in-law. I don't know if you know that lived with us from when she was 86 to 96 before she passed. But I would come home from practice and the TV would be on, and I don't know if you remember at that time, but there was an hour-long, Seinfeld thing. And she would just chuckle and she would just laugh. And I would just love coming over there and sitting with her for a while before we had dinner. And so it just brings back a lot of memories of Maggie and just those times. So as long as she was laughing and she was happy, I was really happy. So brings all that back. So
very special, very special. So how are things going in volleyball this year?
Oh my gosh, this has been a crazy time. And Bill, you've had to navigate this whole thing, which I thank you for. It's been very challenging. And really with all of the kind of things that come from it, right? The ripple effect of what does this mean, and what does it mean to facilities, or what people sharing space, or how are the players reacting, and what is the process, medically as people, would get the COVID, I say, but as you get that, and then the contact tracing and everything else that goes with it. I mean, our administration, obviously, and our medical staff has had to go through so much just to keep us all safe and to keep us all going. So we certainly do appreciate everything that you guys have been doing, and we're not done yet. So I think it's still going on, and hopefully we see an end to this soon throughout this new year. Anyway, so what have we been doing? The team started up in June. They got here and we were, first of all, in our spring. We were just ready to start our spring season when we found out that no, we weren't. We were going to go home and do all that. And like Jean, our team grew over Zoom sessions in the summer, and what they were, how they were coming together. I was really proud of them and watching what they were doing and how they were doing it together. So I thought we became extremely close through that. And then we had the opportunity to come back on campus and start to work out and prepare. Now, at that time, we thought we were starting in August, but pretty soon thereafter, we found out we weren't, and the team, we started practicing as usual and doing all of that. But I think that our biggest thing was, we're practicing, and then we find out that no, the season is canceled. And talking to the seniors was really tough because they didn't know what that meant. What is it? Are they going to be able to play? Is this how you remembered, or how you thought about your senior year and your senior night and all those things, kissing the floor, the whole thing? How was that going to lay out? So it was extremely difficult. And thankfully, over time, we started to see that, we were going to try to have a season in the spring. I know that our seniors were like, okay. We had 3 of them graduating in December, of which, one has been offered a great job in Cincinnati, but she asked them if they would wait for her to start in May. And they said, yep, we'll wait for you. Of course, she's a 4.0 student done with her master's degree, but she's going to continue to come on, and we're just going to be able to pull our team together this spring to play. In that, then we start up for volleyball. We start up on January 22nd. Will be our first match. We'll come back after Christmas and get ready to play. And then we have 11 weeks of volleyball with 22 matches in the Big Ten only. We're not going to play out of conference, and those bring complications when you play out of conference. But we we'll play 11 straight weeks, which will get us matches. And for those of you who follow volleyball, that the conference is pretty tough. So we have our work cut out for us. But with that, we have a change in the NCAA tournament, in that they'll only take 48 teams instead of 64, which typically the Big Ten gets 8 in. It's always a top conference. Typically there's 6 teams out of our conference that make it to the Sweet 16. So, you might not even get 6 teams in. So we'll see how that rolls. But we're really excited about what we're doing. And, the team is focused on controlling what we can control. Been weird not playing games or not playing other teams, but we'd be getting ready for the NCAA tournament now. We'd start to kind of put it into that last gear to get in there. And so, we're just controlling what we can. And working very hard, and we're being resilient, and we're being tough, and we're having to just regroup and think about what we need to do. So again, we come back at the end, and we'll get back in there. But NCAA tournament time is in April, so hopefully we can get fans in the stands. I would love to have you guys back out, and miss you all. It's horrible because I get attached to our fan base, and I miss so many of you, and so many of you that have supported us over the years. It's been a tremendous following and support, and we've been able to do different things because of all of you and your donations and your support, and just being there in our fan base. It's been a top 10 in the nation fan base, so we're really thankful to you for everything you're doing. So we're happy to have you here today. With that being said, Julia Hatcher is a senior, and she was one of those that was there for us. She was, on that day when we learned during practice, by the way, that the season was going to be canceled. She was one of those that, that had to be talked to. We had the whole group out there, and there were 6 seniors. We have 6 seniors this year. So they were all out on the steps, and I had a private conversation with them afterwards, and they were shocked. They didn't know what to do. And after that conversation, they went off and had their own, and had to really do some soul searching, because for Julia, she was looking to actually, this is funny, Danton, but she was looking to kind of work with the hockey team, and maybe help you guys out with some marketing and some social media things. And now it's like, okay, I have an internship. All the rest of our seniors were looking at the jobs that they were having. Alyssa was looking at the MCAT, preparing for that. And so it's an abrupt change. And, so proud of our seniors, because they've done a great job. And Julia has been a player for us. She's a great student, and looking to get into branding and some public relations and those types of things through her communication degree. But she's been a great student, and has had to weather the storm throughout her career with injuries. I mean, she's been plagued throughout her, but I really, I'm proud of Julia. So, gosh, I get teary-eyed. What is this about? But I am. But she's come such a long way, and she's had to endure a lot of injuries, and she's just watching her grow has been tremendous. And, Jean alluded to this. Every coach has alluded to it, but the growth and development of people in the 4 years, 5 years time that you'll have them with you is something to be treasured. And you feel great about letting them go off into the real world, and Julia's going to be wonderful in whatever she chooses to do, and I just loved watching her grow and persevere through everything. So Julia, I'll let you take over. You'll do a great job, so I'll see you in a minute.
Thank you, Kathy, and thank you again, Bill, for hosting this and allowing us to come on here and talk and share our experiences. So I'm Julia Hatcher. I'm a senior on the volleyball team from Lexington, Kentucky. To give you a little background on myself, I started playing volleyball pretty late compared to others, which wasn't until I was a freshman in high school. I was actually picked for my club's 15-year-old team, having only maybe 3 months of prior experience, and I was thrown onto a team of girls who had been playing together since they were 6. That first year of volleyball was definitely the roughest, but only because I was constantly challenged, but that's what I came to love about the sport. It's what gave me my competitive edge, and the drive to get better was pretty much constant. So soon enough, college recruiting started becoming more and more of a focus. And up until high school, I hadn't ever really heard of anyone leaving home. It was either just going to UK or going to Louisville if you were bold. But I knew I didn't want to do that. So when college volleyball became an option, I knew the Big Ten was the best conference in the country, but playing in at one of those schools would kind of be a long shot just because I'd gotten my start so late. Luckily, I was able to extend my recruiting to senior year, and when those Big Ten looks did start to come, Michigan State was the clear-cut winner in my book. Kathy was a huge reason of why I chose to come here. She's a powerful woman who leads a powerful program, and she produces winners. So ever since being here, I've come to love this school in more ways than I thought possible. One of the things Kathy really sold me on from my first visit here was growth through discomfort, because without being pushed outside of your comfort zone, it's hard to grow as a person. And that's exactly what my college experience has been. For those of you who have been out to the field house, maybe you've seen me in and out of the jersey on the sidelines for the past 2 seasons. Like any sport, adversity will present itself at one point or another. So I've struggled with a knee injury and have undergone a few surgeries since, and it's kind of changed the course of my athletic career. No doubt I could have thrown in the towel years ago, but to me, that would have been the easy way out. To me, the harder way was sticking with it, pushing through the pain, and still finding ways to make the team better. And overall, it's just been so much, I've felt so much reward from it. My team's been here training since June, like Kathy talked about. And under all of the ever-changing COVID guidelines, it's been long, but we've come out stronger than ever. And I think we've, not only me, but my entire team has learned more about ourselves than we've known before. I've seen my team from a different perspective, and I've developed the types of relationships with them that's given me a never-ending respect from them. I've really learned what it means to be selfless through my experience. There is no doubt that my knee injury has altered my experience from what I'd imagined it to be when I was 16 years old. But like any college experience, these 4 years are a time of growth and self-discovery. It's about growing as a person and learning new things about yourself. And that's exactly what Spartan Athletics has done. So kind of as a closing note, I want to thank you all on behalf of myself and my program for contributing to the student athlete experience that me and so many others have gotten to have, because I would not trade this opportunity for anything. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Julia. Really wonderful to learn about your experience and the ups and downs that, frankly, so many of our student athletes have. Injuries are pretty common to the collegiate experience, and you've clearly had the right attitude and have made the most of it. So look forward to hearing about your success going forward. And Kathy, thank you for sharing a little bit of perspective that others just hadn't highlighted about what we'll be doing this year going forward. And the pandemic has really created some challenges, and for volleyball, for many of our sports, we'll be playing, like we are in football, exclusively Big Ten seasons. And I think some may not appreciate that, in volleyball, you could be the 6th or 7th or 8th best team in the Big Ten and be the 15th best team in the country. It is a top to bottom, just a rugged, ugly schedule. And to not be able to play some of those other opponents that maybe give you a little bit of a breather will be really extra challenging. So hopefully we'll be able to get some spectators in the building and see the incredible volleyball that will be happening this year in the Big Ten. But Kathy, Julia, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you. And if we can get back, we want to see all you guys there. So, all right.
Absolutely.
Okay, bye-bye.
So our last coach today is Danton Cole, our head hockey coach. Danton is in his 4th season with the Spartans after spending 7 seasons mentoring some of the top young players in the nation as head coach with the U.S. National Team Development Program. Danton was part of some of the most dominant teams in MSU history, including the 1986 National Championship team when Danton was a freshman. He's one of 6 college head coaches that played in the NHL, but the only one of those 6 to have hoisted the Stanley Cup, which he did with New Jersey in 1995. Danton has won over 500 games in his 19 years as a head coach and has mentored more than 100 players that have gone on to play in the National Hockey League. A fun fact about Danton is that he was an all-league pitcher at Waverly High School in Lansing, but the second best pitcher on his team, having to play alongside Baseball Hall of Famer John Smoltz. And Danton, since I haven't done a fun fact myself yet today, I went to elementary school at St. Thomas in East Lansing at the same time that John was in elementary school at St. Gerard over on the other side of town. And we played basketball against each other. I didn't play baseball, but we played basketball. And I think he was equally good at basketball back in the day. He smoked us every single time. So you were lucky. He was on your side. But Danton, how are things going this year in hockey?
You know what? Things are going well, and yeah, it's funny. John's name comes up a lot, and he was he was an unbelievable athlete, and I think he's qualified a couple times for the senior U.S. Open. So he's he was good. He beat on a lot of guys back then in a lot of sports, but no, good man. Does a great job on announcing games too. He might be as good at that as he was at pitching. So, but no, appreciate it, Bill, and thanks for having it on, and thanks for everyone joining in remotely, which seems to be it's not a norm I like, but that seems to be the way it's going. I look forward to, like Kathy was saying, maybe getting fans back in the stands, but just being able to see people and get out there and kind of sign of the times. But hey, like everyone else, COVID affects us greatly, and it's a change of schedule. We were lucky last year; we were able to finish our season, and then this year we're going to have a little bit of a delayed start, but we are going to get going before Christmas here. So in that way, we're kind of lucky. But man, it affects everything that we do, and something as easy say as scheduling a bus or a team meal or something like that normally takes about 5 minutes. You've done it enough times. Now it's 5 different meetings to make sure that you can have the right number of people on the bus and testing beforehand, and just all the logistics of everything. So it's complicated a lot of things, and you know what, we're working through it. And Bill and the athletic department and Dr. Kovan and Dr. Avellini have done just a great job, navigating us through all of this. So, and I'm sure everybody's dealing with that in their own rights. But our schedule, we got back to campus about July 6th, and our guys they're able to train off the ice and on the ice. And the hard part during that was probably just keeping guys engaged. We were, we didn't know if we were going to have a season. We were hopeful, we were looking forward to it, but this kind of dragged on, and we weren't sure. And then for the guys, you're training, you're trying to get ready, but what are you getting ready for? And having a date sometimes helps you out. And then we got back, when school started as well, then you started to get into a little bit, okay, when's the season going to start? And when we finally got some kind of idea, hey, we're going to play, it's going to be before Christmas. It really, you could tell on the ice that it really focused guys, energized them, and now we're moving forward. And we are playing a full Big Ten schedule. We usually play 24 games. We're going to play all 24. We've been able to add Arizona State. All the teams in the Big Ten, in Notre Dame, all 7 of us will play Arizona State 4 times, all at home. So we get 28 games. Our normal season is 34. So for us, that's a pretty good deal. And if you look at what everyone else is dealing with, and you've heard the other coaches, it's not an easy thing. So we're looking forward to that. Big Ten schedule comes out today at about 2:00. Little insight: November 18th and 19th. So 2 weeks from today, we'll have our home opener against Arizona State. They'll be in here, so we're excited about that. And we've got some good returners. I like the depth of our team. Dennis Cezana is an all Big Ten player. He's coming back on defense. He's a junior. He's going to have a heck of a year. Mitch Lewandowski up front probably leads the way. He's a senior now. It seems time flies by, but he was Big Ten Rookie of the Year and has just been all Big Ten several times. And then probably our biggest position in hockey is goaltending. And Drew DeRitter is going to kind of taken over as a junior for John Lethman, who had a heck of a year last year, was all Big Ten. And Drew will jump in there, and I'm sure Coach Exter will get him up and going and hopefully have the same kind of results. And we're, as a staff, as Bill mentioned earlier, this is our 4th year here. And, we've been building and getting a little better every year. And that was kind of our goal coming in. And we knew that there were some challenges, but a little better every year. And last year, we had 1 game with Penn State. We lost 2-1 in overtime, probably one of our better games we played all year. And as tight as, Kathy was saying, Big Ten volleyball is, Big Ten hockey is very similar. And if we lost 2-1 in overtime, if we'd have scored the goal to win 2-1, we would have been in a 5-way tie for first place with 7 teams. So that's how tight the conference is. We'll have the same issues as volleyball does. NCAA wise, whether we get 2 of our 7 teams in or 3 or 4, which we do quite often. It might be a little different this year because we won't have our computerized ratings, but we'll get several in. It's a tough league. It's a great league. Well coached, well recruited, well scouted. So it's a lot of fun to play. We're excited to get back. Hopefully we'll have some fans after Christmas. I know we're putting Coach Izzo in charge of that. He has a lot more pull and a lot more energy than all of us. So, but hopefully things will move along medically where we can do that. And I'd also be remiss if, we still have this, the renovation going on here in Munn, and we've kind of battled through the COVID thing, and that's definitely been affected with delays in construction in the state of Michigan. But like, we're getting back, and that's going to be delayed during the season because we can't do both the way it's set up. But we're still working on that, and if you drive by, you'll see it. It's that's real exciting for us as a program too. But probably the thing that as a staff we're the most excited about is what I think we've been able to build in terms of our work ethic, our leadership, and that stuff's that's what your culture ends up being. And then, you're never done working on your culture, but when you get it where you want it, and I think we're slowly getting there, and that's been led by our players and things that we want to have done. And through all this, our team leadership's been outstanding, and that's probably the most important time for coaches is when they leave the room and then the leaders take over. And Tommy Apap's gonna join in and talk a little bit about us. And Tommy's he's a Detroit kid, so he's a tough young man. We came in and kind of just jumped right in and played a big role for us. And he's probably the top face-off guy in the Big Ten and killing penalties, and started popping some goals in last year. So he's been outstanding for us and really kind of grabbed that mantle of that. And I think the football team that they always talk about, the Spartan dogs and all that. I mean, Tommy's a true leader for us, and he's great in the classroom. He's great with the guys. Like I said, he's expanded his role as a player, and he's really kind of driven that. So again, this is his third year as one of our captains. That doesn't happen very often in any sport, let alone in hockey. But hey, none of this would have happened without the leadership of that group that's been with us since we first got back here. And no further ado, I'll turn it over to our captain, Tommy Apap.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it. And thank you, Mr. Beekman, for having me on. It's an honor. And thank you to the Spartan Fund, everyone who's donated to Michigan State Athletics, because without you guys, we wouldn't have these incredible experiences that we do have. And really every day, it's a wonderful experience to be here at Michigan State, and even through these crazy times, we're really making the most of it as a team, as a program. Like Coach mentioned, we came back in the summer. We had our pods. We were in groups of 8, and it was definitely difficult not being with everybody throughout the entire process in the summer, but finally we were allowed back with the protocols, wearing our masks, doing our testing, and we're all back on the ice at the same time. And that was pretty incredible feeling to have, is being back together and skating on the ice again here at Munn. And it's going well so far, even though COVID's been tough for sure, but we're really making the most of it. And just regarding this season, we can't wait to play. In 2 weeks, we're going to have our first game, and I think we're really ready. As I said, it's been a little difficult throughout the summer to get ready for a full season, but now that we know that we're playing and we're all on the ice together, I'm really excited about it. We have a great group of freshmen. We have great returners, great leadership coming back with a lot of seniors in this class. And while we did lose a lot of really important players last year, we do have a lot of really good players coming in, and we can't wait to play. We can't wait to play a Big Ten schedule. Every game is going to be tough, but that's what you want. That's one reason why you come to Michigan State to play hockey. Is you're going to be playing against the best players, the best programs in the country, and we really think we're going to be one of the best programs in the country this year. As Coach mentioned, we've improved a little bit every year, and I think this is another big step we're going to take, and it's just going to keep moving in the right direction. And regarding my path to Michigan State, I grew up in Bloomfield Hills, and my dad he was a Michigan State alum, so we were bleeding green and white ever since we were born, and he had us out in the backyard. He would build a rink every year. We'd be skating out there, and we'd have our little Michigan State jerseys on, my brother and my sister and I. And so we've been Michigan State fans our whole lives, and I ended up going to U of D Jesuit high school, playing there, and playing junior hockey for 3 years, and was lucky enough to be recruited here. And just playing hockey in Michigan State, I mean, I couldn't ask for anything more. And I also want to mention how incredible of a staff and just community we have here at Michigan State. Last year, my father lost his battle to ALS after 10 years, and it was definitely obviously a difficult time for my family and I, but with the staff here and the community here at Michigan State, it's hard to put into words how lucky I am to be here at the time when that happened. And and how supportive and caring they were for me and for my family, and they really went out of their way to reach out for us, and so that means a lot, and that makes it even more wholesome to say you're a Spartan. And it's my senior year, and I'm really excited about it, but I'm really just excited to be a Spartan for the rest of my life. So I appreciate that, and I can't wait to start the season. And hopefully we get some fans here at Munn, but if not, we're still going to make the most of it. And thanks again. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Tommy and Danton, for joining us today. And I'm probably not, I don't know that I could be as excited as the two of you are for the start of the season, but I think I'm pretty close behind. We've, the team, and Tommy, as you said, has gotten better every year, and great things to come. So very, very excited. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
Even though we aren't going to start the season with fans at Munn Arena this year, we're hopeful that perhaps over the course of the year, depending on how things evolve with the pandemic, we may be able to begin to have some students back with us at some of our venues, and perhaps at our outdoor venues for baseball and softball, sports like that, field hockey in the spring. Still a lot to be determined, but we'll be keeping you abreast of those details as they become available, should they become available. But even though we won't have fans in the stands initially at Munn Arena, the walls are still making plenty of noise as we continue the ongoing Munn expansion project. As Danton said, it will tail off as we begin the season, as it's hard to do those two things simultaneously. But you can check out the project at spartanfund.net to see more about what's going on, and see some pictures and other graphics that we've got on display. But that wraps up our AD lunch for today. I'd like to thank our friends at Auto Owners for their generous sponsorship of these lunches. Our next AD lunch will be in January of 2021. Again, we'll have a virtual event, so be on the lookout for an email to register, along with the lineup of our next head coaches. Again, your support of our MSU athletic department is so extraordinarily vital, and I just can't thank all of you enough for what you do for us in so many different ways. Further giving options available at spartanfund.net for those that are able to do so. And until then, until next time, thank you so much for joining us today. Always fun to hear from the coaches, and especially their student athletes. And we will see you all again in January of 2021, if not before then, and hopefully eventually in person. So with that, thanks so much. Have a good rest of your day, and go green.